Hey guys, my name is Kelson. I'm going to kind of show you guys how I made this 3D sci-fi pyramid reel that I just posted the other day. I'm going to kind of go through my process of modeling, how I textured it, and kind of how I got those glowing lines and everything going on with the circuit on the texture. From there, I'll kind of talk about how we can try to do this for free without the add-ons. I did use an add-on called Random Flow. I'll kind of try to link that in the description for you guys, and then we'll go from there. Okay. So here I came in first and started with making the scale of the pyramid here. So I will say modeling a pyramid is more difficult than you think it would be in Blender. Something I can do here, it's right here. I'm gonna make this cube real quick. I'm gonna go press period if you want to go to a specific object in Blender. So scale that up. You go into edit mode. You go to the top face, scale that down significantly, and then that way you can get your loop cuts to still work. So one of the problems I saw when I first started doing this was I couldn't get the loop cuts to work if I used a different type of object. Kind of like if I did so if you try to do this with like a cone and you did like, I don't know, 4 different sides here, so it kind of goes in the pyramid, right? But when you go into edit mode, you get these little dots and it doesn't let you do any type of loop cuts or anything. So the best way to do this is just to do that cube like I showed before and then scaling on the top like we talked about. And that way you can have loop cuts and you can do different things with that. Okay. So here with these panels, um, this is kind of what it looks like with the texture and everything on it. It's like this is Eevee and this is cycles. Let's see how this looks. So it kind of goes up and you can see these are moving here, right? So I'll kind of talk about how I modeled that and then how I got the texture to move for you. So the first thing is, let's do another cube here. Period. Let's do press slash. Let me turn screencast keys on for you guys actually. There we go. That should help. Yeah, so press N to get that to get out of your screen. So again, let's do like what we did before. Make this face super small, like this. First, I think it's Q is what I have. Control Q. Get random flow, random extrudes. You do cuts. Let's see here. You can do multiple cuts. You can do a couple different things. Kind of like you just press random stuff on here, get something cool looking. Um, let's see. Control Q. Let's do random panels. Let's do cuts on here. Do count. Size. You're gonna get things like that. So, yeah, so that's the other way to do this with that add-on that I had. Let me see if I can do a different thing to show you guys better. Let's redo this with a different cube. That last one I tried to do just was not working correctly. Scale this in again, like I did before. Go into here, shift D, Z, or Y here. Or do E on the Z axis, it'll come up like that. Okay, so what I'm gonna do some loop cuts here. Kind of like this. So instead of doing it the way I was talking about before, you can do like, let's just grab like these 3, ES, and then EZ. Press that twice, so then it'll go on the Z axis just like that. We can do this kind of like randomly. Press Alt to kind of like, let's see, let's do Shift. Do this. Maybe like this one right here, ES. Then you do EZ again. You can get some different levels of paneling. See what I'm saying here? So if you go through, let's just make this whole thing paneled. ES, EZ twice. I kind of like to make it, don't make them like exactly the same length. Kind of make them separate from each other so it looks like the paneling is more naturally built, I guess, architecture wise. Let's see. ES and E. See twice again. So this is kind of what you'll get as you go. So that should work. Just kind of do that. That's like the free way to do this. Again, you can use that add-on random flow, which I was showing earlier, and then you can get the same kind of effect. But yeah, just kind of duplicate that face from the edit menu and bring it out and then extrude it, and then you can do that on top of that, and you should get a bunch of different panels, which could make you the same thing as what this looks like as you go. Or just kind of bevel those lines you have with Control B. Just make it one slice so then you get that kind of squarish bevel on there, and it'll give you that paneling look. So this looks crazy right now, so I'm going to change this to 0.1. For some reason that fixes that. I have no idea why. Let's talk about the texture here. So I first just kind of went in here. This is kind of my node setup for this. I kind of talk about what I went through trying to get this to work. So first, obviously in the noise texture, I just did a color ramp with a noise. You do Control Shift, you can see the noise texture here. And since it's so large, I went pretty high scale. So let me see here. The actual scale of this pyramid is, let me put that back on. I looked up like the dimensions of like the actual pyramid in Egypt, and it was like 600 by 600 by 800 meters tall. So I tried to make it to scale so that it kind of fit within the scene better. And that's why when I made this texture, it was a little bit more difficult to get it to work. So what I did with the color here at the emission, I did this. I got this picture from Pexels, which is just a free website that you can find online. If you watch Max Hay or anything like that, he uses that a lot. So I just opened this image. I'm pretty sure I used this one right here. And I don't know if you can see. Let me see if I can make this icon bigger. Yeah, so this is the one that I use right here. Put that into the emission here directly. I used a color ramp to like make sure that was like, because if you have this down, you're gonna get everything. So I turned the black up to about right there, and I used blue as the white portion to make it glow that way as it does like right here. So you can make this any color you want. If you want this to be like purple or yellow or green, it can make a big difference for your scene, kind of like what you're gonna see as you go. Actually looks pretty cool. But besides that, let me see. Yeah, put that back to blue. Okay, so that's kind of how I modeled the pyramid. I also made these little glowing rings, which you really can't even see except for the bottom one when you're at this angle. Even in the final render, it's just this bottom light strip. So what I did, I went into the original, and you can see that I have another portion of the pyramid back here, which was below the panels that I made. I only used 2 panels here. Let me expect to sell it. So I only used 2 panels because to save yourself like memory and everything in this, you only want to show what the camera's actually going to see, because behind this, we're not going to see that. So there's no point in making panels for the entire thing unless you're going to do like, a 360 view or something. So with that like little strip, I pretty much just went to edit mode from this. And so if you like take a strip here and you hold Alt, it'll go all the way around. You press P, separate by selection, and then with that you can kind of just select that specifically. Let's see if it wants to work for me. Let's see. I don't know, this thing don't want to work for me, but let's see. If you do like a different strip, like you see that when I grab these, you can see that this is just a noise texture. So I just did a large noise texture here. So I did a noise texture, color ramp, and I multiplied it because at first when you put this in the strength, if it's just this color ramp, you're only gonna get that. So I used a math node. Let me take that out. Let's do math. Okay, math. I did multiply, and I put the color into the value up here. But then the strength, I did like 62 or something like that. So that gives you a lot brighter effect there. And obviously you can change this here and get darker points, or you can flip that around if you want more white. It pretty much just flips around whatever you want. But yeah, so we put that all back. Back straight. Okay. So, yeah, so that's kind of how I modeled the pyramid, how I got this. The only thing at the top here is just a spotlight. And it's like 750,000 watts. So, because I kind of want this like energy portion coming up here, like that's going to be where you see all that energy going to whenever you watch. Oh, you can't see it in here, but let's see. So, if you kind of see how I edited this. Okay, so my blender crashed. No idea why. But I kind of got this to work again. I don't know why I wasn't showing before. I guess I had the wrong thing. Kind of like, yeah, let me turn motion blur off. I think this is what's making this a problem right now. Yep, okay. You can kind of see how these lights are moving up as they're going. It's kind of showing how like the energy is going up towards the top of this. Let's see if you can see it in cycles. See here. You see how this like it makes like the energy is moving up towards the top of the pyramid. So what I did to get that to work was I went to the noise texture that I had here for the strength, right? So that's gonna affect where these black parts are gonna be like the dark parts of the emission, and that's gonna move. So I just animated that to go towards the top. And the only thing you had to do for this is just you press on noise texture. Let me delete this. You press the noise texture, so obviously nothing's happening now. Press Control T. From there, you're just gonna go. Let me turn screencast keys on. I guess I turned off. You're gonna go into the Z, the location, and you're just gonna go to where it's gonna go up. So for me, it was negative. So if you press I, and then let's see, I'm gonna move this timeline up. I always put my timeline above this so I can kind of see what I'm doing as I go. So I'm gonna put I on the first frame, go to the last frame of this, and then we're gonna move this to like negative 17 or something. Then we're just gonna go back. So this is what it's gonna do. Also, right click in the editor, do interpolation mode, and do linear. And then that'll make it to where it's like steadily going. It doesn't like slow down or speed up at a different speed the entire time. So here, that actually didn't work. Like press A and select all the keys and press linear. So now it's gonna work specifically for that. So it's not gonna do what I was talking about. So this is what it's gonna look like. And then when you add the other parts of this, I'm just pressing Control Shift and clicking on whatever node I want to see. So if you ever want to like look and see what your texture is doing underneath it, if you just want a noise texture, if you want this color ramp, if you want this as like the only thing that's on there, just press Control Shift and click on it, and that'll show you. So whenever I want the whole thing back on there, I just do that. And then now that that's been animated, you'll see how it's kind of like all the energy is going up. That's why you can get like an energy effect. And if you wanted it, like, let's see this noise texture again. If you wanted to go to a different way, obviously instead of up or down, you could do like the X value. I think that would be like a way to see that. You could do the Y. Yeah, so it's kind of like going to the right side, kind of. So it just depends what you have. And then that will be the way you can kind of animate that energy. So now I'm going to kind of talk about the ground plane here. So I got this like, I wanted to go for like a desert look. So what I did here, this is not killing my computer. So all I did, I went on a blender kit. That's what I use for a lot of my materials, things like that. Just like the sand. I think I used this one right here. And if you didn't want to use that, you could use another one of these if you have the add-on. If not, you can use go to like CCO textures or something and download it from there. And you just kind of do slash on here, new. Control Shift T. So if you want to use this brick thing, you go color, displacement, normal, and what is this? The roughness. And then you have this automatically here. Big thing for your textures. If you're having an issue where, let's say, okay, we want to rendered. Let me do Shift A, light point right here. To kind of show you what I mean. Do this. You see how this is kind of like, it's still flat. If you look at your displacement, and after you do this, like you don't see any kind of difference, because like I have this at like 35 right now, which should be insane. So first off, you want to subdivide your plane. Do like 50. Go into your modifiers. Let's do subdivision surface. I do simple. You do like 2 levels. I do like 4 max in my renders. So still here, it's still not doing anything, right? So you're looking around, you're like, why is my texture not giving me any type of geometry? You can turn normal map, but that's still not going to fix the issue. So you want to go plane 01, go to this right here for materials, go down to settings. So you see how this, so it'll come up and it'll be like this. Just go to settings, go to surface, go to displacement, it'll say bump only, go to displacement and bump. So you see how freaking huge that is right there? You want to do 0.2. So now you're having that geometry come in. Do like 0.01, 2, I guess that's fine. So now we have like actual kind of geometry happening. It's very, very slight. We do 0.23. Yeah, now we have like that rocky texture, which could give you a lot more ability to kind of, let's see from this angle. Yeah, exactly. So now you have more of that texture there. I was watching something the other day talking about micro textures. Let's see, the normal. Let's see, do that up a little bit, maybe like 5. It was like a noise, and no, I don't want that. Alt. Just a displacement. Yep, color and displacement, the height right there. Okay, noise texture factor into a bump. So you bump height. Make this like 600 even normal, and that like even normal there. So now you have like way more. You do like, so you're getting like micro details. It looks a lot like right now you're not going to see it much because it's not an actual render. We do like 0.12. You're going to get a better micro detailing through this. It's going to look better in your renders. I've noticed a lot of like realism or surrealist people use this. If I'm wrong on this, like leave a comment. Kind of tell me what I'm doing wrong here. But let me see if I can do like a mixed color. Let me do this. The normal there. That and that. So you have both of those together. You can also do multiply. Then you should have both things there. Let's see what this looks like here. You can kind of see if I take that out. So if you do this all the way to A, it's going to be the normal texture, and then this is B. Together, you're going to kind of, I'll kind of turn this up a little bit towards like 7.5. Do rendered. See, there's a lot more detail in there, which it'll make a difference in the final render if you see it. But that's kind of what I saw recently that I thought was like a good trick. And you can also do SZ if you want to affect your displacement too. So if you want nothing, if you want a little bit, let's see. Yeah, you can just kind of slightly move it from there and you can get a big difference in your textures that you're using. And it'll make it look more realistic for you. Yeah, so that's a way to do that, to have better textures with your ground. If you're ever like looking through here, you're trying to find your textures and you're like at a different place, usually if you press period it would work. Usually there's like the principle that's selected or something like that. If you're over here and like can't see anything, press period. It'll bring you back to whatever you're looking at in the material preview, kind of like if you were in the viewport. Okay, how to get these other kind of little details going through here. As you can see, like it's going, I have these rocks, these little baby rocks here. So what I did, I went into here, let me Okay, so with this, I went into weight paint mode, and all I did, if you draw on here, you'll get this kind of like red spot. You go into the data tab, go into vertex groups, press plus on there, or you just kind of rename it. Do rock particles, and so when you see this, what you want to, with your particle systems, it'll start putting your particles where you're drawing at. So I'm going to take that off. So what I did, I just kind of painted in this area that you're actually going to see. And that way it's not doing the particles all over the entire plane. It's going to make a big difference with kind of viewport optimization and making sure that you're not stuck figuring out where all these pieces are and killing your computer. So I did like 700. I messed with the seed. With the render, I did a collection. So I pulled in like 2 rocks from Blender Kit, went to rock particles. It's only 2 different ones. I kind of changed the hue and how they look. Sometimes you'll notice that your rocks will not come up correctly because if you turn object rotation off, they're kind of all just like standing straight up. I've been having that issue for a while. The only way that I've found to fix that is if I go to my rock. Well, first off, I'm going to turn object rotation on in collection. And if I go to my rock here, let me put this into material preview 0 so you guys can kind of see what's going on here. Doing that, attaching the rocks. Do this. So here, if your rock comes in the way that it's supposed to, kind of like this, it all looks weird. I don't know why. This has been happening for probably like a year now when I'm in Blender. So what I do here, I do RY90, and for some reason that fixes it. I don't know why, but it does. So I do the object rotation RY. I think I did like 97 on this one because I was over rotating it. So then it all fixes that to where it's actually on the plane correctly. If you ever issues that, like trees or shrubs or anything, and they're all just not coming in right, do object rotation in the collection, and then do RY90 and make a big difference. The only other thing I did here, I got some like photo scan, like a beach rock thing, and I just Alt-D'd that so I can get an instance of it so it wasn't adding to the data of the scene. And I just moved those around. I did it like 3 or 4 times. Yeah, I like scaled it differently so it looks like a different rock here and then it's different over here. Moved that around the scene. I kind of made it like it was kind of coming up from the sand by just getting it covered there. And it's like coming over that. And that's kind of how I put all this together. So we got the sand texture, the rocks, your particle system here with getting the rocks to look correctly. That's how we did the paneling and how we made the kind of energy flow from the bottom of the pyramid up to the top. The only thing I do for like lighting, so like you can see the starry night stuff behind here. This is just a single plane that I brought in. You do Shift A, image, mesh plane. You bring that in. All I do with the texture on here, take your image that you have, which I just had this, I got this from Pixels too. I did like, I think Galaxy Night or Starry Night or something like that. Brought this in, put it in the base color, put it into the alpha with a color ramp, just so like I had a little bit less of those like blues. Made it a little bit more dark, so it's just more of the stars. Then I put the color directly into emission, turn the strength to 1, because the other ones that I was doing, I was like 5. It just looked too bright, so I just did that on 1. If you kind of want to like fake an HDRI around your scene, all you have to do, hit Alt-D on here, or actually not Alt-D, let's do Shift-D, so that way you can adjust. This has, let me talk one more thing. This, whenever you're doing this, and you want your background image kind of stick with your camera, so you see how this is kind of like changing here, like it's kind of getting smaller. This is because I have a copy rotation modifier on here, so as the camera moves, this moves. So I have it on a quick favorite, which you press Q. The way you can do that, you go to constraints right here, and you would do copy rotation, and then you would set the target as the camera. And if you really want to make this like something you can use your quick favorites, all you have to do is click on this. It would be assigned to quick favorites instead of removed from quick favorites, and then you can automatically just press Q on anything, like copy rotation, and it'll go straight to the camera once you select it. So when you shift D this, I don't know why, but that's affecting both those, even though I did shift D. Doesn't really make sense. Let me delete that. And shift D 8. See how now it's not affecting the background. So that's all I did. I made these display to bounds. Let me do, let's see, let's do textured. So now it's just a different one over here. For some reason they got rid of the way to do this like as a quick favorite. I don't know why, but that's what they did. So I think I press F5 now for mine and bounds, and you can just set that as a shortcut by pressing this. Change shortcut, and I did mine F5 because I don't think F5 does anything in Blender. So that makes that a lot faster if you want to display something as bounds. That's kind of like an overview of how I made this sci-fi pyramid in Blender. If you have any questions, leave me a comment. This is the first time doing a tutorial, so hopefully this helped. You guys have any ideas, put a comment in, like, share, subscribe, and yeah, hope that makes something cool for you guys next time, and it helps. Peace.